It's like jumping around on me. Okay, it's live.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Don't mind me. I'm just, trying to get my life together.
Don't mind me. Let's flip the video.
All right.
Camera. There we go. Wonderful. Hello.
All right. How is everybody? I'm just scrambling around like a madman. I just finished eating a huge meal with Bratty Bean.
It was delicious.
So I'm a little right now. But that's okay. That's okay. Because that means that I'm like kind of half tranced from too many carbs. And that makes me a little bit more receptive, or at least that's what I'm going to go with as my explanation for why I just ate 2,000 calories worth of biscuits and gravy. So, here we are, Kane Dreamwalker of Dreamwalker Wisdom. Very happy to be able to hang out and pull some more cards for people. Hopefully you guys can come in and ask your pertinent questions. You know, now is the time, right? With New Year's coming around the corner here, of like, man, what's next, right? That's a good question. What's next? We're in New Year's, so what's coming at us? What's coming down the pipe for old Dreamwalker Wisdom here in the next year? What's that gonna look like for us in this little project? Okay, lots of thoughts, lots of dealing with. I pulled the beast. It's a brain beast, right? Dreamwalker Wisdom is it's kind of I'm kind of already there with it, pulling me in a lot of directions mentally. There's a lot to wrangle and to figure out what I want to do, and how to do it, and what to do it with. We've been talking about everything from doing podcasts to just more YouTube stuff. I've got my website that I've been integrated with my sister Irene Glass, the Glass Witch Cottage. Going to be announcing that later on my own TikTok channel. But here live, I can tell you, glasswitchcottage.com. You can now much more easily see me and book me for one-on-one live sessions, for readings and consultations. And I kind of work basically like a combination of spiritual coach, life coach, and just an all-around, body to listen to you and help you sort through whatever it is that you're in the middle of dealing with. And I'd be hard pressed to point at any stranger on the street and not find somebody who is in the midst of trying to figure their shit out, right? Life is just complicated, and it gets that way. And it's such a tacky saying, not being able to see the forest for the trees, but it's for real, honestly. And when you're in the midst of it, it's easy to miss and overlook little details, or get so like hyper focused on your problem that you just can't see what a solution might look like. That's when your guy Kane Dreamwalker comes into play, and all of these cool cards that I've got going on, come into play and help us talk through whatever it is that you're stuck with. So and this is one of my favorite decks in the world too, the Abandoned Oracle by Patrick Valenza. I use it for a lot of people. I've been using it for a while. I've got a pretty good relationship with this deck, and I love how honest it is and how to the point it is.
Yes. Tall, Dark, and Scary and Cat Coveney, welcome on in. Feel free to ask Kane any questions aside from medical.
Hail and welcome. I'll answer anything as long as I don't need a doctorate for it. So if you guys have any questions, anything going on in your life, anything that you would like to get a read on, I will happily pull a card or two and get you some clarification about maybe where to go. Is there some action going on in the...
They're just hanging out
Okay.
right now,
Okay,
so...
Just checking. I see you poking at the screen. So let's take a look. Let's just see kind of what the general vibe for 2024 might be for the collective, as some TikTokers like to call it. You know, everybody here hanging out. What can we be on the lookout for, be mindful of in 2024 for our lives moving forward? Okay, we've got the plant in reverse. So, the plant right side up is about kind of fast, spontaneous growth. In reverse, that means that the growth is a little bit choked, a little bit restrained, if you will, instead of being like brah, grow. But that's good for us to know moving forward, and to keep our eye out on not stagnating. Right? I'm such a proponent of just don't sit still. Don't let yourself not grow. You know, we very easily kind of get stuck in our own little pot, right? Our own little as plants, if you will. We get stuck in our pot, in our comfort zone, and it's hard for us to move out of that and to keep going and to find a direction to head in. And so I think that it's just good advice to tell anybody ever coming in on a new year, don't let the next year just sit, right? Don't let yourself not grow for the next year. We should all be our own lifelong kind of pet projects, right? No matter what we've got going on, it is important for us to just keep chugging and keep looking for things to grow. That doesn't mean to be like hypercritical of yourself, but to just be honest and to observe the whole wheel of the year ride, right? Where we've got kind of the four big chunks of, you've got your springtime where everything you've planted, metaphorically, you're tending, and you're sowing seeds, and you're putting effort and energy into growing new parts of your life, new ventures. You know, summertime, you're starting to see that kind of come to fruition. Maybe there's a little bit of early harvest. Late summer, early fall, we've got the big harvest, where we're starting to see like stuff really come in, and we're starting to really reap the benefits of the work that we did. And then at the end of fall, when we get into winter, and everything, you know, that we've planted has gone back to root, if you will, or has died off, and it's ready to be retilled into the soil. then we spend our winter time really examining all of the seeds that we were able to sort of harvest back from the things that we did throughout the year. And you really want to take a look at what plants did well and how the seeds look and the health and the robustness of those particular seeds, and whether or not you think that they're going to be good for your garden in the next year. And the ones that aren't, get 86th, out the door, down the garbage disposal, fed to the birds, however you want to oust them. And we are in that position right now where it's winter time and it's time for us to figure out what our own new growth is going to look like and what seeds we actually want to plant moving forward. So 2024, grow. Make sure to do the work. Observe the process of getting rid of what doesn't need to be kept until springtime, and then start working and do your planting, do your tending, work on that promotion at work, work on changing the relationship dynamics that you're in to be more healthy. Work on your relationship with yourself to be more healthy. Get on top of the self-care bandwagon. If any of you guys look at my channel, you'll see that pretty much every day I rant about taking care of yourself and about mental health and all of those good things. And those are all good directions to sow seeds. Find a new therapist if the one that you're going to isn't working out for you. Things like that to get yourself on the right track for new growth, for better growth. Start putting away money for a down payment on a house. Call up the financial advisor at your local college. All of these things are important to start working on right now, moving on into the new year, and will help you avoid being the plant in reverse. A lot of people can get flustered by reversed cards when they come out. I, over the years, have sort of changed my relationship with reversed cards, where I started out being like, oh no, they're real scary, and then I quit using them because I ran with the idea that there's plenty of cards in the deck that can tell me bad things. Why give them more opportunity to do so? But nowadays, I have really started to lean into this idea that, first of all, if a card starts off not great and it's reversed, then that's good news. But if a card starts off good and is reversed, then I still look at that as good news, because it's more like a warning. And it's an opportunity for change and for growth, and for us to consider what sort of work that we can do to avoid that blockage.
Let's see. Okay, right now I followed it from Crafting Bean right now.
Cool.
Nobody's in the chat at the moment, so we're hanging out and waiting.
That's okay.
Yeah, people are coming in and out. We've had a couple people in and out. So.
Okay.
And I shared it on Facebook as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're just a few minutes in.
Yeah.
So, plenty of time to hang out a little bit, play with some cards.
It's tarot time.
It's tarot time. I actually just got a new deck, a new Oracle deck. I got the North American Animal Wisdom Oracle.
Oh, nice.
And this has some really, really beautiful artwork. Got the mountain lion,
Ooh, that's pretty.
humpback whale,
Ooh.
the sea potato, a manatee.
I love manatees.
They are amazing.
The sea potato.
The sea potato. The golden eagle.
Oh, that one's beautiful too.
Yeah. And I enjoy all of these cards are set up in a way
Welcome
where
in, Blonde Beard. Feel free to ask Kane a question. He was just showing me his new tarot deck.
yeah, I got a new deck about animals I'm learning about. Oh, there's a cockroach card. I haven't even had a chance to go all the way through this deck yet.
There's a cockroach card?
Yeah, man. And you know, we all
That's so
dislike
awesome.
cockroaches from the you don't want them in your apartment standpoint. But if ever I was in the middle of like some stuff, and I asked like, you know, what is to come of me? If I pulled the cockroach card, I'd feel pretty good because these things are almost as hard to kill as a tardigrade.
Yeah.
And they can survive radiation and fire and all kinds of stuff. So a cockroach card is a pretty legit card for like you're gonna be okay. Nothing's gonna stop you.
Yeah. Nothing can knock you down.
Right. Oh, here's the Coca-Cola card. We've got polar
Aw,
bears.
polar bears.
Mama bear with a little baby bear.
So cute.
I love it. I love it. And we've got there's the green sea turtle. All right.
Oh, nice. I like that.
What was his name? Crush or
Crush.
something? Crush. I love that movie. It's such a good movie. Oh, here's the Maryland card.
Oh, the blue crab.
The blue crab. Because all of these animals are specifically North American. It's great. Not that we only have blue crabs, but I appreciate that. That's one of the big things that drew me to this deck was the fact that it's specifically North American.
Yeah.
And I can there's a little bit more of like that connection of homeland.
Yeah.
You know, of seeing these animals that we're mostly familiar with, but also kind of having the opportunity to be like, oh crap, I didn't even know that was like.
I didn't know that was here.
I didn't know that was here, and then you can learn about it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And I love animals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a spirit worker, which means a lot of things, but I add the little tag to myself of being a primal spirit worker. Nature is kind of the root of my practice. Shape-shifting specifically gets called up for my primal spirit work, where and while yes, that can look like me crawling around on all fours half naked around a bonfire in the middle of the woods in Massachusetts. Not that that's ever happened in front of hundreds of people.
Oh, okay.
But also, it's really powerful work to integrate the spirit of an animal in with your own spirit and use that to help heal someone else. Mm-hmm. Man, I just got a really great idea for like a whole energy work system there.
I love it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Instead of the Reiki symbols,
Yeah.
have
Animals.
Specific animal energy work. That's something that I'm going to be. So I, as a spirit worker, I consider myself a little bit of a mad scientist, and I like to experiment and find new sort of magical technology, if you will, and see what works and what doesn't work. I'm definitely not one of those people that will just like word salad an energy system together and be like, it's happy fairy time unicorn star Reiki. And it's got 35 different levels of initiation that you can pay for at only $199 per level. Very, very easy. You too can be a grand fairy fluffy bunny unicorn magic Reiki user for just $29,999. But seriously, I really love experimenting with energy and trying to figure out, kind of what makes things change. What kind of change can I get by using a different tool, if you will? And Reiki's great. It's a great start. But I have this brainchild that I'm working on that I'm calling the UHS, the UEHS, Universal Healing, UHES. See, it's still in there. We're still percolating. Universal Healing Energy System, where it's largely about pulling energy from above and below, kind of like Reiki can be, or Reiki specifically above, but also about attuning different frequencies, like playing with different frequencies, and getting into like color and sound and things like that, and kind of bringing that all together into one system.
I love that. Nicole Ramey is in the live. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Hail and welcome. I am answering questions if you've got them. Otherwise, I'm here just ranting and raving until somebody shuts me up with a question. So if you want to get me to stop talking, or at least stop talking about what I want to talk about, we can talk about you and your things that you want to talk about if you ask me a question.
I like the idea of incorporating animals into that energy work system.
Yeah, because I do it to a small degree already, where I shapeshift with specific animals to do specific healing work, but like with a whole situation here. I could see incorporating a deck like this in with actual healing work, and taking the time to really work the energy of the painted turtle.
Yeah.
For example, and animals and animal meanings are interesting. A lot of people overthink animal meanings, in my opinion. They try to go a little bit too esoteric with animal meanings, and what I mean by that is they lose track of the animal itself, and it's like, oh well, I ran into a deer, so it's I've heard somewhere that deer are for justice, and I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of court systems in nature, so I'm not totally sure where justice comes into play with a deer, for example. In my opinion, the best way to understand animal energy and meanings are twofold. One, what is your particular relationship with that animal? What does it make you feel when you see that animal? Are you afraid of that animal? Is that one of your favorite animals? Does that animal connect to a specific childhood memory, or just memory in general? What was that memory about? Things like that. You can really work in your own head what an animal correspondence means to you, because it's important to really wrap your mind around the idea that the universe speaks to us in the ways that we listen. as individuals. So what that deer that somebody saw may have been trying to tell them isn't for me to know necessarily, or for me to tell them, because they could have a very specific relationship with the idea of deer. The other aspect of understanding animals and animal meanings is to get to know the animal.
Mm-hmm.
Understand everything that you can about them, which is always a fun process, because that at the very least means that you get to kick back and watch an episode of like Blue Planet on Netflix or something, and understand its feeding habits, understand how it survives in the wild, and its temperament, and whether or not it's nocturnal or diurnal or seasonal or what have you. And you can really start to kind of decode a little bit what the energy of a particular animal presents. You've got like the raccoon here. Raccoons are so smart and so resourceful. What's interesting, I think, about raccoons is how clean they are. A lot of people associate them, and we all kind of like to jokingly call them trash pandas. But raccoons don't like to be dirty. They clean their food before they eat it when they have the opportunity to, and they'll take it to a stream and they'll dunk it in the water. There's a cute, almost sad video that floats around of a raccoon with cotton candy. If you've never seen it, it's pretty fun to watch. Somebody gives the raccoon a piece of cotton candy, and it doesn't know what it is, and the first thing it does is dunk it in a bowl of water, because it's going to clean it before it puts it in its mouth. And the cotton candy just like disappears in its hands, and the raccoon has this like betrayed look on its face from having the cotton candy vanish on it like that. But so you're looking at an animal that is smart. It's aware enough to know that it doesn't want to eat particularly dirty food. Mm-hmm. So it's got like some cleanliness and self-care going on, and also some self-preservation going on, where this raccoon is like, no, I need to do right by me. I need to clean this food before I put it in my mouth. Which can be taken in a lot of different directions depending on what your situation is, in terms of like, pay attention to what you're putting in your body, but also pay attention to the kind of energy that you're allowing into your life, making sure that you're cleansing the energy, you're only allowing clean energy into yourself, not associating with toxic people, garbage people, things like that, just from pulling a raccoon card, or learn to think outside the box to solve your problem. There's an octopus card in here somewhere that could be looked at similarly in terms of like strategic thinking. Yeah. Octopi are wildly brilliant and can like really mastermind stuff. There was an octopus at a aquarium that had figured out how to do fish heists. At night, it was creeping out of its tank and going into a neighboring tank and eating the fish. And the like aquarium curators or scientists or whatever they were, they thought that an employee was stealing fish and selling them on like a black market. And there was this big investigation, and they pull all of this security footage for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, what they figured out was they watched this octopus escape its tank, climb out, climb across the hallway, climb up the other tank, get inside, murder the fish that are in it, eat them bad boys, and then roll back out. And then they were so kind as to restock that octopus's fish market every time that it did that. So the octopus just thought that it like that was its buffet, and so like the museum, the people at the aquarium had to figure out a way to octopus-proof their tanks, because this octopus was like just too brilliant for them to keep it in a normal tank, and also an opportunist, and also was really a great example of what strategic thinking can get you, of like, okay, how can I get the things that I want? How can I leverage my abilities the best to get the things that I want? And sometimes that can look like just letting the museum staff restock your food all the time, right? There's nothing wrong with allowing the universe to feed you when it's there. So I love that about this deck. I love that the deck is separated into earth, water, and sky. It has your sky cards are all gold with cloud and sun. Your watercolors are all blue with a little water symbol. And then you've got your earth cards that are all green with a little plant. And that takes this deck even further into being able to like consider those three major elements of earth, air, and water. There aren't really a lot of fire animals, unfortunately, though I would argue that the lion should be fire, but that's not North America.
And the scorpion.
And the scorpion, yeah, being out in the desert.
Some of those desert animals I definitely associate with fire.
For sure.
Hello, Emily. Welcome in. You can ask Kane a question anytime, just
Hail.
not health.
Hail and welcome. Welcome to the Kane Dreamwalker ranting for an hour.
Emily says hello.
Thank you so much for coming in. You're welcome to ask a question. I've got some decks here I'd be happy to pull cards for. I do not know a lot about this deck yet. It's a brand new Oracle deck that I just got my hands on, but it's in my hands. So whatever happens today. I will let the universe, kind of go with it, and we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But I do have my abandoned Oracle. If you have a really serious question that you want to get into, as long as it's not a medical thing, then I am very happy to help you sort out your problems. Because that's what Dreamwalker Wisdom's all about.
Maybe do you want to do a generalized pool with the animal
Yeah.
deck?
Yeah, let's...
Oh, here we go. Emily did ask a question. She said, I've been tossing back and forth on what I need to focus on for the new year. Is that possible?
As a question?
Yep.
For sure. What to focus on for the new year? What does Emily need to focus on for the new year? All right, Emily, pick a card. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. No, really, let's get you a card. Okay. So, I pulled the surprise card. Now, from a what should I focus on from in the new year, I look at this more as spontaneity. Don't feel like you have to structure too much what your new year should look like. So this is kind of a anti-answer to your question, but also I feel like it's a good piece of advice for some people. Sometimes too much structure and overthinking can get you lost in the weeds a little bit. Maybe the focus needs to be on allowing yourself to be surprised more in the new year, and giving yourself opportunities, to go experience new things that you wouldn't have potentially considered experiencing before, and to allow the new year, to kind of broaden your horizons a little bit, so that you can start to kind of surprise yourself and discover yourself a little bit more in 2024.
Emily says it's probably needed in my life right now. And then she sent a heart.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you connect with that. You know, it's tempting, here, barreling toward January 1st, for us all to be like making all these concrete resolutions, and talking about what we're going to do in 2024. It's very tempting to try to plan out every aspect of the next year, but I think that it's also important, to give yourself a little bit of leeway and a little bit of grace for just having life. There's a degree to which just mindfulness and allowing yourself to be in the moment, can be really powerful and important. Just as important as a little bit of structure. It's all about balance. Everything is always about balance. And having a little bit too much structure, can create stagnation, unfortunately. Get some agua.
It's water time. Emily says thank you also.
Of course. And I am working for tips today if any of you all feel so inclined. I've got my PayPal and Venmo information up there. That 8366 in parentheses is if it asks for the last 4 digits of my phone number. You're welcome to try to guess the other digits and call me. My phone is always on silent. I won't answer, but I will read your voicemail. So make it entertaining at least. So I can giggle at it and screenshot it and share it to the world. I will try that. Pull an animal card, general readingness. See what old Mama Gaia has to say. The axolotl.
Ooh.
Ooh, they're such cool little guys.
Mm-hmm. Look at that guy. He's just a little guy.
They are super, super neat.
Nicole says, "Oh."
Yeah. So, man, interesting. Axolotls are mostly aquatic, which is why it's on the water card. They, you could consider them amphibious, because they're technically, not a fish at all. So it's interesting to look at this from an elemental perspective in terms of what to kind of bring into life, generally speaking. This is leaning in a water direction by pulling a creature that looks like it could be of the land, in the axolotl, but really is something that lives in the water and has its little oxygenators attached to its head. And water is all about emotion, emotion and dreaming, and things like that. And so we're looking at this adorable little guy who looks like something out of like a sci-fi channel special, that is kind of dreamlike in and of himself. And so I look at this card today, right now, with having very little experience with this deck, and I see a message of allowing yourself to start to play with fantasy more, lean more into what you want out of life, lean more into figuring out, even if you have ideas that seem impossible, right? Imagine not knowing what an axolotl is. Maybe you don't know what an axolotl is. And just like seeing a picture of this little guy and being like, well, that's not real. It can be easy to tell ourselves a particular goal or a particular idea that we have is impossible and that it's not real. And this card and this little creature is a really good reminder that it's okay to dream, and that it's okay to allow for fantasy to kind of creep into our lives as something that maybe we start to entertain as a possibility. Maybe we can go back to school. Maybe we can get a bigger house, or maybe we can find a relationship that's actually worth being in instead of being stuck in the same cycles over and over and over. Maybe we can. And if this little guy can exist, this axolotl, then our dreams, other dreams that we may have never considered, could exist too. And pursuing those ideas, at the very least, is the only way that you're going to be able to figure out whether or not it's a dream, whether or not it's something that can actually come into fruition. So that is what I get from my very first pull from this animal deck, in pulling probably the weirdest card in the deck.
I love it.
The axolotl. Dream. Looks like a fairy. Really. And the Fae are all about dreaming and all of that goodness. I bet if you showed this to a fairy, they would want to ride it.
Probably.
They probably do ride
I agree.
them. Maybe that's why the axolotls are very shy. I know that. Maybe it's because they're tired of the fairies trying to ride them around.
I like that thought. And Emily sent a little heart as well.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate you. I appreciate anybody that stops in here and just just hangs out.
Yep, and Nicole's still hanging out.
Cool.
So we got Emily and Nicole. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a one and done. We're just chilling.
We're just hanging out.
Just having a good time.
I really like that animal deck.
Yeah, it's a very cool deck. I'm super into it. Ooh, hammerheads.
Ooh.
I love hammerheads. I love pretty much all animals, though. There's not going to be much. It'd be hard for me to pull a card out of this deck and be like,
not that one.
I don't want to see you. Like, sorry, you're not doing it for me, squirrel.
Aw. Squirrels are so cute.
Squirrels are pretty good.
So it doesn't have any fire cards, or?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Nope. It isn't. And I'm going to have to talk to the creator because I bought this directly from her. It is really meant to be rooted, from what I can tell, in just like the animals and less about you know the magical pentangle of earth, air, water, and spirit.
Interesting.
Let me think. What is a good, this is for everybody question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a little bit more specific around, because I'm just a geek about self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at what is an animal that can teach us, or what self-care wisdom can these animals teach us today?
I like that.
The particular piece of self-care that we should be focusing on for today. Oh, we've got the American alligator.
Ooh.
Good old alligator. Alligators are really fascinating. I watched a super cool special about them that talked about how they're able to maintain hanging out underwater for so long, holding their breath, so to speak. And it turns out that the alligator is capable of shutting down all of its major internal organs except for its heart and its brain. And it basically just goes into like stasis otherwise throughout its entire body, slows its metabolism down to like almost nothing, and its heart only beats like a few times a minute to circulate its blood. But that being said, if you watch an alligator like doing its thing, it comes out of the water at things like an explosion, right? So imagine sitting on your foot for an hour and having it fall asleep, and then being able to like spring off of the couch through a glass window, or to attack somebody trying to break into your house, or whatever, or to attack the Cheetos that somebody's carrying across the room. Alligators are about patience and allowing themselves to slow down in order to wait to get what they want, to get what they need. Sometimes the best piece of self-care that we can give ourselves is slowing down. We move so fast, and life is so like moving. Everything is always very scheduled. You can see people out on the streets driving like everything is always on fire wherever they're trying to go, and honestly, they're probably just trying to get a bagel from Starbucks. Mm-hmm. That Starbucks isn't going anywhere. It's open until like 4 o'clock in the morning nowadays. But
Emily says you mean I shouldn't be in go mode 24/7?
Right. No, in fact, it is appropriate. It is more appropriate, according to old alligator here, to just not go and to bide your time until it is actually time to go. But until then, there's no rush. Mm-hmm. Shut down. Let yourself relax. Let yourself slow down. You don't have to be moving a mile a second all the time to accomplish your goals. Set yourself up smartly so that you can be patient. You know, nobody likes to wake up early. Nobody likes to wake up at whatever time of day they wake up. Waking up is an unfortunate experience sometimes, at least in mine. Not that I'm not grateful.
Maybe a little traumatic sometimes.
Right. Not that I'm not grateful that I got to wake up each day, but the point is, if you find yourself being one of those people who are forever rushing around, it might be time to rethink your schedule. I used to absolutely hate everything that there was to hate about mornings. And I just assumed that it was because I was a diehard not morning person. And then I met my now wife. And this used to make me want to jump out a window. But she used to have her alarm set on her phone. She had 6 alarms or something. And she would set the alarm, or she would snooze it, or whatever it was that she did. It went off a million times. She would set the alarm to start going off an hour before she even wanted to get up and start getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
But she wouldn't go back to sleep. She would wake up and read.
Nice.
Or read the news, or listen to music, or whatever. And then when she would get up to start getting ready, she had so much time that she had allowed herself to get ready. And when we were first seeing each other, and I would stay, we would stay the night at my place or her place, and I would wake up to that routine like it was jarring. So that was traumatic at first, because I was used to, all right, I'm gonna sleep until I have to be brushing my teeth. And then by the time that my alarm finishes its first sound cycle, a toothbrush had to be in my mouth, right? And that was my pace for the rest of the morning. Everything had to be boom, 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 boom. Get up, brush teeth, underwear, socks, pants, shirt, shoes, keys, out the door. Pull into the gas station to grab a sandwich, hit the work office. Through the door every morning within 30 seconds of the same time. And that was after destroying the speed limit on the way. And then I would tell people, I hate mornings. I hate mornings. And it was honestly, I think, largely because I wasn't morninging correctly. At least not for me. So I decided to give her seemingly bizarre routine to try, and the alarm would go off, and I would wake up with her, and that started giving me time to I was used to get up and go, so instead of get up and lay in bed, I would get up and I would go out into the kitchen and I'd make a real breakfast, because I had time. And I would make up a really nice breakfast, and then by the time that I was done doing that, she was done with her little routine of reading or checking messages or whatever. We'd sit down, we'd eat a breakfast, we'd talk about how did you sleep, what did you dream about last night, real conversations. And then we would get dressed, and by the time that I was dressed, I still had time to kill, and I could mosey out to my car. And I'd get in my car and I'd put on an audiobook, and I would get in the right-hand lane, and I would do just at the speed limit or just above the speed limit. I'd set it on cruise control, and I'd listen to a fun audiobook. And by the time that I got to work, I was in a great mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hate mornings anymore, and I didn't hate existing at that time of day anymore, because I wasn't beating myself to death to get there. And the alligator is a really great reminder of shut it down. Stop pushing yourself so hard, because if you don't need to be moving at 1,000 miles an hour, don't. Sometimes we need to, and it can, and it does when it needs to. But it's not all the time.
Not all the time. Welcome in, Soul Collector. You can ask Kane a question anytime. And then Emily also said, very good advice, especially this time of year.
Yeah, thank you. And hail and welcome, Soul Collector. I hope that you've got a question for us. Thank you for stopping in. I always like new people coming in. I am Kane Dreamwalker of Dreamwalker Wisdom. Check out my TikTok. I've got a link tree over there. I think my link tree information is on the sticker above my head.
It is. Linktree, Venmo, and PayPal.
Lots of good socials on my link tree. Facebook, Grammy Instas, Patreon, so that you can subject yourself to even more of me, and get even more of the Kane Dreamwalker Wisdom experience.
Love it. I liked that self-care card.
Yeah, man. Slow down. Man. It's two very simple. I might have to rant about that tomorrow for my TikTok.
That would be good.
My midday TikTok rant. You guys, if you follow me, you can hear it again. Slow down. Please. Owe it to yourself to actually enjoy the meal that you're eating. Actually have a meal. Instead of just a Pop-Tart while you're running to the car. You know, it's crazy how much your relationship to something like mornings can change if you just quit. And that's also like I made that situation myself. I did that to myself, you know, and it looked like me going to bed a little bit earlier than normal, but nothing crazy, just like an hour earlier than normal. And what was I doing with that hour anyway? Watching like Netflix. You know, I don't need that. I need to not be having a panic attack on the way to work every morning if there's a little bit of rain on the road, because I know that everybody's going to be driving slower than I want them to. So set yourself up for success and then relax. You know, I could also see me doing like using this deck to help people connect to like spirit allies, things like that.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. Animals are great. I used to have a wooden set of animal rune things that I gave away.
Nice.
I don't know why I never used them very often, but I felt like they had been sitting in their box for years, and I just never touched them. But now I've got these guys, and there's a lot more variety in this. That animal rune set was only like 20, and this is, I think it's 75?
78?
72, because this isn't a tarot deck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's oracles.
It's an oracle deck.
Yeah.
So it gets to play by its own rules. And it's 72 cards, and that's a lot of animals to work with, a lot of animals to learn about. When I run out of Ganesha cards, I'll probably switch to this.
Yeah, I love that.
Give everybody their daily animal wisdom.
Ooh.
I've also got another deck that I'm going to rotate in. That's a Rumi deck, and that'll replace the Ganesha cards at some point.
That's awesome.
We're going to stay live for just a little bit while longer. Before we shut down for the day, So if any of you all are lurking, want to ask a question for a reading, or just a general spirit question, or just if you just want to ask me a question,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for you. Or if you want to put something out in the chat about stuff that you're dealing with, I am happy to help you figure it out. You know, whether that looks like me pulling a card or us just riffing about it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to provide space. In the meantime, I'll pull one more animal card. We did self-care. That's another good thought.
Emily has a question just general for you. What is your favorite part about being a healer?
Oh man. So I became a healer after needing to go through a whole lot of it myself. And I lived for a very long time in this state of being super disconnected from people. You know, a therapist that I worked with had a really great phrasing where, and I'm not at all ashamed, like, or afraid to admit that I had very narcissistic tendencies once upon a time. And she said that I was a really fascinating client for her because she realized that I had narcissistic training, but I myself was not a clinical narcissist, and there is a real difference there. And what she meant by that, and what that ultimately boiled down to, was I learned how to be too stuck inside, and I learned how to not allow other people to be any kind of a priority, or in my like thought process of like other people are valid, other people are important, other life outside of me is important. That was like kind of beat into me by the combination of trauma and shining examples that I got to experience, growing up. And I went through so much unpacking and several incredible therapists, and got to this place where suddenly I was able to have like really deep and powerful and meaningful connections to other human beings, and I really valued how I felt when my mental health was better, and I really valued what it was like to be on the other end of all of that. So in kind of combining this idea of like, man, it feels really damn good to feel good, and to not be burdened and weighed down by all of my trauma and all of my narcissistic training, and also, how cool would it be if I could help other people feel that way? And I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a spiritual worker. There is still a lot of value in spiritual work and in spiritual health, which was a big part of my own healing process in finding my spiritual path. And my own therapist told me himself that if I hadn't found my spiritual path, none of the other growth would have happened. And because being a spirit worker and really dedicating myself to that forced me to value other people. It forced me to acknowledge the importance of all life and the preciousness of like the web of life. And so, to answer your question, the thing that I like most about being a healer is seeing other people get well and getting to make that connection with them along the way, and having that deep, meaningful connection with a person who is suffering, and getting to know them and understand them and hear their story, and share with them this journey of healing, and getting to be a part of that as they transition from being in a place of pain to feeling empowered and feeling like they are capable of being okay. Because it is so tough to believe I'm going to be okay a lot of times. And to get to that place is just so magical. And to see someone else get to that place, and to see someone else's pain sort of start to ebb away, start to wash away, and to know that I got to be a part of that process is just it's indescribably amazing, and is easily the most incredible experience that I've ever gotten to be a part of.
Wow, that's amazing. Soul Collector, if you wanted to ask a question, now's your chance to do it. Thank you, Emily, for your question.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was really, you made me think. I like that. Thank you all so much for popping in. I hope you guys enjoyed my ranting. Follow me, like, share, all the things on all the places, from Facebook to Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel. It's new, but I'm uploading compilations to it, and kicking around the idea of doing a podcast that'll get dropped on there too. So if you like what I have to say, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, please, hunt me down. I graciously appreciate any support through Patreon and through my Venmo and PayPal, Paymo and VenPal, and hopefully we'll do this again soon. I'll see some more of you, and until then, I believe in you, fam. You guys got this.